Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be looking at Ethereum, its valuations against Bitcoin, um, preparing ourselves for the next quarter. Remember, if you do like this video and the other videos that I make on this channel, be sure to hit the like button down below and also consider subscribing. So currently, right now, Ethereum, uh, with its Bitcoin valuation, is at about 7.3 million Satoshis. Um, and it has been riding the 20-day moving average for a little over a week, right? Ever since September 10th, we have been riding the 20-day moving average up, uh, for this whole time. We have been rising, if you, it's clear to see that it is rising, but it's very, very slow. The issue is that, um, uh, September is halfway done, essentially. September is halfway done. And if we take into account the theory of one YouTuber, Benjamin Cohen, which I find is very compelling about a Q4 bleed of Ethereum, that doesn't leave Ethereum a lot of room to rally any further. And my anticipation is that we will start the bleed relatively shortly. Um, it- you never really see if big Ethereum riding the 20-day moving average like this ever. Um, we can look back and see that there are examples out there that it kind of loops around the loops about the 20-day, and then we saw a rise. That is an entire possibility, yes. But considering the fact that we're going into Q4, we're going into October in 2 weeks. Um, this is something to take into consideration. Because of that, I'm not buying any Ethereum at this point. I did buy Ethereum. Last time I bought Ethereum was essentially last year, so to speak, and accumulating Ethereum that way. And I'm planning to do it again this year, because it worked so well, and just back testing it seems very compelling, to buy at that range. What I expect might happen is that we're just going to be breaking the 20-day moving average shortly. And when we do, I expect we might come back to this line here. Now, this line, it was resistance at one point, resistance here, resistance here, resistance here. And it would be great if we can back test it and hold it as support. And it's a downward line, so we can still trend down and be okay. But then in the coming new year, rise to new local highs, and hopefully reach the prior local peak, prior all-time highs of Ether Bitcoin back in the last cycle. That's essentially what I'm hoping for. Obviously, things can be different. It doesn't have to play out that way, and that is a risk that I'm willing to take. Um, in all reality, I'm quite happy with the Ethereum position that I have. It takes about 25% of my entire portfolio. So it is a pretty large bag. And, I'm happily earning interest off of it. So, um, at the moment right now, I'm perfectly content of where it is. Uh, one thing to take into consideration is, um, uh, you know, keeping up with either scenario, right? Either Ethereum bleeds, right, in which case it becomes a buying opportunity, or it stays the where it is, or rallies, in which case I have an Ethereum position already. If you're in the camp that you do not have an Ethereum position, um, that puts you in a pretty tough situation. In reality, we are pretty high, in regards to price evaluation of Ether Bitcoin, right? That we're not talking about the US dollar. We're talking about the ratio of Bitcoin. And when you look at here, we're already far from where, most of us, or some of us at least, were accumulating in these areas here. This is in fact the last Q4 of December, where we dropped 18% against Bitcoin, and I in fact did buy um uh uh Ethereum here. Another thing, and so with that said, you can consider buying Bitcoin, or sorry, Ethereum where it is now, only on the pretense that you understand that the risk is relatively high at this point. The chances of it coming down are a lot higher than it was back here. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's going to drop to zero. I'm saying that the likelihood of it dropping from here at this level compared to this level, this is a lot higher risk. The probabilities are higher. With that said, another thing to take into consideration is the 20-month moving average for Ether Bitcoin. We saw bounces from here. We saw bounces from here. We, in fact, saw a rejection from it here. And currently, right now, the 20-month moving average valuation is at 4 million Satoshis. And it is rising. It is rising quite a bit. And if it continues to rise, okay, if it continues to rise, by January, it would be at about 5.3 million satoshis if it continues the way it is right now. So another hypothetical is that Ethereum comes back down to the 20-month moving average, in which case it is a fantastic opportunity to buy more Ethereum at a price where you probably won't see it again until next market cycle, right? Until next market cycle. When when the market peak is done and we're coming back down, Ethereum, if the Ether Bitcoin valuation will obviously drop. I don't know if it'll drop to valuations as low as, say, here, because we haven't seen valuations at, say, 86 860,000 satoshis, and that hasn't come back since. So keep that in mind. But I think the 20-month moving average might be a moving average of interest in the coming 3 months or in the coming quarter. But I wouldn't necessarily only wait for that, right? Like, if we're coming into December and Ether's already dropped, but it's not yet at the 20-month moving average. Personally, I would consider buying Ethereum at that point, despite it not being at the 20-month, um, because of the anticipation of Q1 of the next year. Anyway, that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.